Amanda of Level Up Creators and Level Up Creators School. I'm our Director of Operations, and Amanda Northcutt is our CEO. We are going to give people just a second to hop on. So if you want to share where you're tuning in from or any questions that you have for us, we would love to answer those while we are on our live with you today. Okay, cool. It looks like we're all up and going. Okay, so today we're talking about the real reason Amanda left her six-figure job to help creators. And we're so glad to spend a few minutes of our day with you. If you have any questions, again, for Amanda, just drop them in the chat and I will get those over to her so she can kind of stay in her groove as she's answering our questions. If we haven't met yet, there are two ways that we help thought leaders like you build rock solid recurring revenue businesses. First, we have Level Up Creators, which is our done for you white glove consulting firm. And second, we have Level Up Creator School, where we help a global group of thought leaders build businesses through our done with you model. Creator School includes access to our consulting team and our methodology in a way that we have reserved exclusively for our consulting clients in the past, but now we make it available to you. Okay, so we're going to jump in. Okay, first question we have, Amanda, reflecting on your past health crisis, what key lessons from that period do you think had the most influence on how you run your business today?
That's a great question. So for those of you who don't know, I've had chronic disease for decades, going back to literally when I was 12 years old. I'm 38 now. And this all sort of like came to a head when I had our son. And so the bottom really fell out of my health at that time. And I had to quit the job that I loved so much. I had worked at that company for almost a decade. Was like the second employee at that company. Hello, TexAgs. Really fun place to work. I was like a OG membership community for mega sports fans of Texas A&M University. But I found myself in a position where I couldn't do the job anymore. I had to leave. I had a really young kiddo at home and could not function at all. And I needed to find a way, ultimately, while healing or attempting to heal, to make as much money as I could, like replace my very high paying job in about 20 hours a week, which is about a fourth of the time that I used to work. So that was a pretty difficult math problem to solve, but that led me to consulting work for membership companies and also SaaS, software as a service companies in Silicon Valley. My last like in-house fractional executive position was at an amazing company called Go Nimbly, a Silicon Valley consulting firm. And I loved the people in that company. I mean, really loved it. Love my job and what I got to do on a day-to-day basis. But ultimately, this is at the tail end of COVID. I think a lot of us went through deep thinking and periods of reflection during COVID. And I was like, man, I'm a little bit healthier now, at least like I'm functional and I can manage this situation. And I'm ready to take the leap on figuring out what is actually going to be really purposeful and meaningful in my life. Like, how do I actually want to spend the rest of my career? I'm only going to work about 10 more years and I want that to really matter. So, figuring out that I had this pretty unique skill set from working about 10 years in the membership community, 10 years in SaaS, marrying those together, and cherry picking all of my absolute favorite expert humans like Aaron to work here. And that's how Level Up Creators was born. And so we run a mirror business of what the type of business that our clients run. And we're successful when they're successful. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. In this past week's newsletter, you mentioned how identifying a watershed moment was very transformative for you in your journey. How can creators recognize when they're in that moment in their own lives? And then what should they do once they've identified that maybe they are going through that?
I mean, really persistent, visceral, like gut feeling of feeling unsettled, unhappy, discontent, like something's not quite right. You're showing up to the office every day and you're like, I'm good at my job. I like these people that I work with, but like something is not in alignment with where I feel like my heart is leading me. And so I think it usually starts with kind of a stirring in our intuition, like it's an intuition based situation. And then hopefully you're paying more attention to that feeling and becoming aware of it, and then trying to figure out what to do. But the trying to figure out what to do part is so difficult. We do have a very simple framework for that. And it's basically writing down everything that you're really passionate about. And on another list, everything you have experience and or expertise in. And then you want to find the overlap in those two lists. And so many of you are probably already doing that. That's what you talk about on social media or on your email newsletter or in your courses or membership community or coaching program. And so figure out the overlap in those two lists. And then to actually run a business, you need a third circle. So it's a 3-circle Venn diagram framework. And that's what people will pay for, right? So how can I package up my knowledge in a way that people will actually pull out their credit card and buy? And so that is the hardest code to crack, but you want to make sure that you don't skip over making this passion list and then experience and expertise list. That has to be a prerequisite, because you don't want to get yourself back into a position where you're really discontent or even hate your job and like have to find a way out. So this is a lot about lifestyle architecture as well as meeting financial needs.
Yeah, that kind of like rolls into our next question. I think anybody that's been in the corporate sphere, or even smaller businesses can be this way too, where work can become so dominant and so forefront. And so how do you set boundaries to protect your well-being? And can you share specific examples of boundaries that you set so that they can maybe get some inspiration from you there?
Yeah. Yes. So I try and be fairly transparent about like my health situation. Like I still have a serious chronic health situation. And that has an impact on pretty much every moment of every one of my days. And so that's always very, very much top of mind for me. And so I have to prioritize 8 hours of sleep, period. I cannot function. I mean, I can miss a night here and there and not have a good one or whatever and be okay at this point. That was not always the case before. Sleep has been a really difficult thing for me. So making sure that I have created an environment for sleep, giving myself the best shot possible, right? Turning off work at 6 p.m. We use OKR framework at Level Up Creators, so objectives and key results. One of my key results, nesting under the objective, build the consultancy sustainably, is Amanda has to stop work at 6 p.m. and only work like one weekend session, I think is how we worded that. And I'm accountable to my team. We're doing Q4 planning right now. And I got asked, how'd you do with that? So I had to fess up that, I did okay on it, maybe hit it at 80% or something like that. But putting those boundaries in, and our creator businesses, they're a reflection of ourselves and they must fit our lifestyle and financial requirements. And so if you can't meet your lifestyle requirements, should you even be doing this? Is it really even worth it? Or do you want to just go work for somebody else? So I really, really put that as a primary point of emphasis in everything we're talking about in Creator School and with our clients and Level Up Creators. So yeah, those are putting boundaries around things and sticking to them and having accountability toward those boundaries and goals is key.
Yeah. You also talked about the power of developing daily habits. What are some of your specific habits that have helped you overcome your health challenges, and then also to help you continue to thrive as a creator and an entrepreneur?
Yeah. So a lot of my daily habits revolve around like micro learning. One, I have very little space, right? I have a kid at home. I'm married. Have lots going on, just like everybody. And then again, my health is really, really, really still very dominant. So daily habits and routines include like I get up before the crack of dawn to try and get a few, personal items in and have time to like wake up before I get on calls, usually starting at 8 a.m., sometimes earlier. And I squeeze in listening to courses, like any courses that I've purchased, while I am doing hair and makeup. So I've got like a 12-minute window. I listen to courses and podcasts on 2X. My husband came in the bathroom this morning. He's like, how are you listening to that? It is 6:30. But that's like part of my habit and routine. I'm really, really big on growth mindset, improvement 1% every day of the year. And so I find little pockets to do that because it's so freaking hard. And then I'm working at the latest in the morning, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. And so all of my other habit related stuff happens after that. I have a very specific wind down routine where I go outside and I shoot baskets. I walk the dog, have a glass of wine with the neighbor, whatever. And then I also have a very strict regimen for health protocols, right? So weightlifting, cardio, sauna, cold plunge, taking vitamins and doing all these horrible treatments and things like that, and going to see, specific practitioners every week. So I'm very like kind of a ritualistic person, very, very habit driven. And that is a big part of extraordinary productivity.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so last question. Recurring revenue streams are a major focus in your journey.
Yeah.
How would you suggest a creator just starting out begins building these streams without overwhelming themselves?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the key piece that connects all types of recurring revenue businesses is that they're selling something that is consumable, and all sorts of things are consumable. Access to people or things or information are consumable. Things that are literally consumable are consumable. Like, I don't know how many of you subscribe to, toilet paper and Kleenex from Amazon, but like that's a subscription product, right? It's consumable. You need it more. Information, like information type products, can be consumable. We actually have a whole list we could throw up on or reply to this post. But what can first do the 3 circles? What are you passionate about, have expertise in, and what people will pay for? Find the bullseye that you're really, really interested. I could talk about this for 10 years, literally. Okay. Don't commit to starting a personal brand business outside of that. I could do this for 10 years. And then what of that within that category can you turn into something that is consumable? So we have to find that sort of consumability piece. And then there's like 6 or 7 different ways to package something that is consumable through membership community, paid newsletter, group coaching program, mastermind. We have a cute graphic of that we could also post. we should post all 3, the 3 circles, consumability, and then the ways that you can deliver on whatever you are offering for consumption on a regular basis. But start with recurring revenue. You don't have to start with a course. You don't have to, there are no rules, right? It's your business. You are making the rules. And so, my gosh, start with recurring revenue. Shift your whole entire mindset. Creators get burnt out because they are in a one-way relationship, and like they're putting out free content forever and ever and ever. Sometimes they'll put out a course. And so that's starting to build a two-way street. In where like each party is giving in the relationship, which is how relationships work and last. Burnout comes from this constant launching cycle. Like, I'm putting out content, I'm launching. Your revenue looks like this, on your profit and loss statement or however you're tracking that. It's a freaking slog. So like, there's no prerequisite to you earning recurring revenue other than the things that I listed, but that's how you build a firm foundation. And that is absolutely what you should do. That is the right way to approach that. I promise you.
Yeah. Hey, and before we let you go, I wanted to remind you guys that next week, if you haven't seen, we are having a free masterclass with our own Amanda Northcutt and Amanda Getz. That's going through our consultancy project that we're doing with her. We're going to be breaking down the biggest the biggest changes we've made to get her to 50K MRR. And then 2, how we've optimized Amanda Getz solopreneur funnels, and 3, our step-by-step projections to hit 50K MRR in the next 6 months for her. So please join that if that is something that you are working towards. We're going to be breaking those down into actionable steps for you as a creator or thought leader, and how you can implement this in your business. That is on Thursday, September 26th at 12 p.m. Eastern time. So you don't want to miss that. I will drop a link to that event so you can save it to your calendar, sign up for it. And then if you can't join it live, we'll also be sending a replay out. So if you aren't able to make it, you can at least get the replay if you sign up for the event. So thank you so much for joining, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Thank you.